It's recording now.
Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained Podcast and our edition about the Italian League. This is the first edition of the podcast, actually since the Italian League started the season 2021-22. I'm Bogdan, Nicola and Ronnie are also here, and we are going to talk about Italian volleyball a lot because we had already 4 rounds of the league in Italy, and also the Super Cup with which we're going to start. The Super Cup has been won by the team of Trento. They beat Monza 3-1 in the final, and in the semifinals, Trento beat Perugia 3-0, and Monza maybe surprisingly beat the team of LUBE 3-1. So let's start with this one, with Trento winning the Super Cup, and maybe Nicola can start for this reason.
Okay. Well, I will use the words of Lorenzetti to describe what happened. At the end of the competition, after they won the trophy, he said, let's fill this cup with happiness and not with meanings. He wants to say that it's good to win. It's always good to win. But we all know that the Super Cup is just the first title of the season, where most of the team are checking their chemistry and timing. So it doesn't have to be a sort of standard going into the season. It's good to win it, especially because Trento hasn't won it since 2013. And because it's a trophy for a group who just started together a new journey. I think that Trento deservedly won the cup. In the first semifinal against Perugia, they were down in the first 2 sets, but never drawn. So they keep on fighting, and at the end they took them. And in the third, they legitimized the access to the final. The final ended 3-1 just because Monza, who was his debut in the competition, and especially in a final for most of their players, I think that probably were just fine with beating LUBE. I don't know. It looks to me that the attitude was, okay, we are in the final, let's play, but if we lose, not a big deal. I mean, we already conquered something, eliminating LUBE from the contention. So yeah, the most entertaining set, and probably you agree with me, was the third, where the one won by Monza 33-31, even if a double touch on Orduna wasn't called during the advantageous point. But that was the only set worth watching. The other was a totally domination of Trento, and especially of 3 players, in my opinion. It's Bertoli, who had a great Super Cup. Lisinat with the middle. Right now, this is probably the best middle blocker around in Superlega, just because I consider Simone of the contention. I mean, when you do this kind of ranking, you can't count on him. Is another level of standard of the human being. Is probably the best, talking about Lisinat. And Matej Kaziyski, his 37 years, has been consistent for those 2 games and helped this young group of talents winning it.
No, I think that title at the European Championship give more energy to the Italian prospect in that team. You know, a year ago, Trentino on paper had a better team, and they didn't win anything. And now you know, with a relatively new group, let's say, the experience of Matej and the middle blockers, with a new setter that is not your beloved. What is the name? I don't remember now the name of the
Giannelli.
Giannelli, of course, and well, you guys had a good run. Let's just remind that in the past 4 edition of the Del Monte Supercopa, none of the champions win at the end of the season the championship. So let's not bring tears to the air right now, because we all know that at the end of the season this can be a different story, like the other edition. No? The last one to bring the title of Supercup at champion at the same time was back in 2017, 2007-8. 2000.
Yeah.
You know what I
17, 18, yeah.
mean. When
Perugia.
when Perugia smashed, of course, Civitanova in all the competitions, and at the end of the season, they won the championship, of course. But nevertheless, don't want to take credit of this super team right now, no, of Trentino. Let's see in the next round how they develop. We are now going to go deeper in the situation of the league, and we are not talking about right now of some of the spoilers that have been going on in the recent days. So Bogdan, when you are
Yeah, I would actually suggest, because we are going to talk about the teams in detail following the ranking after the 4 rounds. So the four rounds played so far. So I would suggest actually to start with what is the ranking in the championship at the moment after 4 rounds. Of course, 4 of the teams, Perugia, Milano, Cisterna and Modena, have played only 3 matches, due to the fact that in the league there are only 13 teams. So after 4 or 3 rounds respectively, the ranking is the following. Piacenza is leading with 10 points. Trento and Monza have also 10 points, but with a win less. So Piacenza have 4 wins, and Trento and Monza have only 3. Perugia has 9 points, but only with 3 matches played, so they have the maximum active they can. Padova is probably the biggest surprise of the championship so far, with 7 points and also success against Trento and Pala Trento with 3-2 in the 4th round of the championship. LUBE has 7 points and defeat against Trento, including. Milano has 6, but with a much less. Same for Modena and Cisterna. Taranto also 3 points. Vibo 3 points. Ravenna 1 point. And the only team without a point so far is the team of Verona. And so we're going to talk about Verona at the end. Let's start with Piacenza then, because Piacenza won their last match against Modena as a guest, 3-1. They won also again against Ravenna, against Milano, and against LUBE is a guest, 3-2 in a tiebreak. So very effective start for Piacenza. We expected that probably Holt is not going to play due to the restriction following Italian players, but actually Russell is not playing. Recina is playing very well together with Rossar, and of course I believe that the biggest influence in this team on the results so far has the pair setter opposite Brizard and Adis Lagumdzija.
Well,
What do you think?
you mentioned moments before that for you, Padova was one of the surprises in the league. For me, is this team of Piacenza. We mentioned in the first podcast, in the preview of the league, that why Zlatanov, for the people that doesn't know the nickname, which is the general manager of this team, hired 2 good opposites for the starting opposite slot. And we already knew that Lagumdzija was appointed to be the starter opposite in this team. But the success of this team doesn't come only having a good super opposite like Adis is. They have also Brizard, which is for me the right now the most in shape, let's say, setter on the league. And this is interesting, of course. The no participation of Aaron Russell. He only have been playing 2 games and only 3 sets. But man, what has been doing this kid of Recine, I always like him because despite of his size, he can show that he has some skills and he has the ability to go deep, right, on defense, on reception, and of course the harder skill for him is of course the spike attack because of his size, and he's doing pretty well. I don't know how long he will sustain that level of play because this championship is very long, but so far having beaten under his belt, let's say teams like Civitanova, doesn't matter if they are not in shape and with a lot of injuries, a win is a win. And of course Modena, that for me alongside Valentia have been the disappointing team in these first 4 games. It doesn't matter. The only team they have to beat right now, the only 2 teams of course to, let's say, send a early bet to the title, of course, are Trentino and Perugia. But so far so good. I like what I see him, and already with only 4 games played and 18 sets, Lagumdzija reached 100 points. This is gonna be a hell of a player for the years to come. Some people are comparing right now he with the mighty Ivan Milkovic. I think he can go more farther, but of course he doesn't have a good national team to back up in the summer, so he will rely more on his club actions more than the national team, of course. And this can be very bad because he will not have maybe the opportunity to go to Olympic Games and good high level tournaments. Of course, we will see him next year at the World Championship, but that is not enough to keep your name in the history of the better players. But let's see, maybe in 10 years we will talk about the legend of Adis, and we will remember this podcast with you know what I mean. Yeah, for me, good team of Piacenza. I don't know what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah, I would like just to add that if the league was in a English-speaking country, we are going to talk about. I would like again to emphasize on Brizard. We are going to talk on the Brizard the Wizzard because I believe that he was a very important part of the Olympic title of France at the Tokyo Olympics. And again, he's very important now for the team. And he also, by the way, having a French backup as 37 years of age, Pierre Pujol, it's also a very interesting part. But Brizard is really good.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, sorry, Nicola, don't forget the game of so far so good. Max Holt, he is coming back, of course. And I will let you, Nicola, because it's not fair to develop more in this topic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. When we did the preview, I was skeptical about Alt being brought in by Piacenza because we saw how he played last year in Monza, wasn't at his peak. But so far, so good. As Ronnie said, he had an impressive start of the season. He also has been the MVP in one of these 4 matches, if I'm not wrong. And the only danger, let's call it like that I see for Piacenza is, in Italy we say a weapon to use. For example, they have a lot of good players. So if the things are not going well, and I'm talking about, for example, the game against Milano, where Bernardi used basically his entire bench, he could replace a very good player with another very good player, which is something that in this league only Perugia could do. We saw what happened in LUBE when just you missed a couple of good players, that the bench is not such a reliable escort for the rest of the team. But it's also difficult because doing like that, you risk to not having a basic lineup, let's call it like that, because one day is Recine, one day is Russell, one day is Antonov. So you have to be able to mix the two things together, and I think Bernardi is probably one of the best coaches to do something like that. And about Russell, is not playing for the well-known rule of the 3 Italians, but also I think because they want him to definitely recovering from the physical problem he had at the end of the past season and during the summer. So there's no need to risk him right now. Rossard, Recine, and Antonov are playing pretty well, so there would definitely be more time on the court for him in the future.
Even if I don't think this team will end rank number 1 at the end of the regular season, because as you say, how long can they hold the door like holder? I don't think this pair of Antonov and Recine will hold on for much longer. I hope that when Zaytsev get back from his injury and Marlon get more consistency, and other teams like Trentino and Perugia start to kicking out, also Modena, they will fall like 2 or 3 spots behind, because as people know, the season is very long and it's very hard to keep track. Hopefully for them, they don't have to play in Europe, so they can focus only in the home competition. Yes, Bogdan.
Yeah, let's go to the second team in the ranking. This is the team of Trento. We expected them for them to be first after 4 rounds, but it didn't happen. They won in the first round against Verona. Then they won also against Vibo. They won also against the team of LUBE, but then surprisingly lost again the team of Padova at Pala Trento. Of course, here we need to underline that Alessandro Michieletto got injured during the second set in the match against Padova, and he's going to be missing for 2 weeks approximately. So this is going to be a very big loss for the team of Trento, and in their next match is going to be a very tough match against Perugia, of course. But my question here is, because we talked also about the Super Cup, what is the influence of this new system of playing with 3 outside hitters and no nominal opposite? I mean, there is a nominal opposite in terms of Lavia, but it's a very interesting system. And yesterday when I talked to Matej Kaziyski, he told me that it's a little bit confusing for them, but it's more confusing for the opponents.
Trentino.
I think it has its pro and its cons, and also this question has been asked to Lorenzetti, and especially in reception, he told we have more player that will be received, because usually receive with 3 players or 4 in just some situation, but with this kind of system you constantly receive with at least 4 players. But at the same time, there are more conflict zone between the receiver, and so those are the weak spots for the reception, usually aimed by the serving opponent at the time. And that's probably also one of the biggest weaknesses of Trento so far. We've seen that when the team is put under pressure from the service line, but the other, the opposite team, of course, they have a lot of problem trying to set up a very convincing attack. I have on my personal, let's call table, I had Trento with 10 points after 4 games, but because I thought they would have lost to LUBE in the third round and would have won against Padova. No one considered the game against LUBE like something so meaningful, because we know that in that game LUBE was without Zaytsev, like it has always been since the beginning of the season. Then Juantorena had a problem, and for the numbers of the Italians, the Cecco couldn't play either. And there were 3 options. You could have sit down Simon and play with Diamantini to line up the Cecco, which is something, of course, out of the discussion. Or you could have used Marchisio as a spiker and not to play one between Jant and Lucarelli, but that was an option either, because you have a reception but you don't have an attack. Or you could have moved Simon to an opposite to sit Gabriel Garcia and play Diamantini in the middle, but we saw a couple of years ago that's it's a waste of to play Simon as an opposite. So at the end of the game, Trento played its game, and they deserve to win. But those 2 points, let's say, that they are the one that balanced the 2 they lost against Padova, which was a very strange match either, because as long as Michieletto was on the court, Trento was comfortably winning. They won the first set 25-16. They were point to point in the second, but the momentum, let's talk like that, was more with Trento. And then they completely blacked out. They lost the distance on the court. They did a lot of silly mistakes, and in the end they lost the game. The problem is not the loss itself, but it's the loss of Michieletto, because as you pointed out, Trento will play 6 games from the 7th to the 24th because of the Club World Cup. Some games has been anticipated in that span of period, and 4 of that games were against Perugia, Piacenza, Monza, and Modena. Probably the worst schedule you could pull out. So I think that in 15 days, Trento will be around probably 4th, 5th place. But this is a group that just need to develop and not to put too much pressure on the result, and to see how far they go during the year.
Yeah, as Matteo also mentioned in the podcast, it's now interesting how they're going to, not to line up, we know how they're going to line up, but to readjust to a normal system with a classic opposite like Giulio Pinali, the European champion. Okay, let's go to the third placed team for now in the league. This is the team of Monza. I wouldn't say that big of a surprise, taking into account what they did in the last championship. They were 4th at the end. But still now with a final in the Supercup and 10 points out of 4 matches, 1 loss against Milano as against 3-2 and 3 wins still against Ravenna, against the team of Modena, of course, in the first round, and in the second round. Second round was the match against Milano, and now just to make my notes sure that Taranto was the victim of Monza in the third round. What do you think? Grozer is performing very well. They have a great setter, in my opinion, in Santiago Orduna. Alex Grozdanov is also playing very good. They have also, of course, Gianluca Galassi, another European champion.
This is a team that doesn't have nothing to lose more than just win. We are witnessing the second youth of the overcommando George Grozer. He has been slashing opponents since the Supercup, when he obliterated the defense and reception of LUBE Civitanova. And then, of course, try to do the same thing with Trentino. Of course, Trentino is a more compact team at that time. but he managed to do alone win the third set and try so hard to keep alive the heat, but at the end was impossible. And I think this is something to do with the fact that they beat Modena in the first game. They went to Palapanini with the hope that at least win a set was possible, but they found that the foundation of Modena hasn't been it's not solid as we say. We see Joan de Leal with too many problems as he started when he was playing for Civitanova, and we see that Ngapet likes to go full Rambo when he doesn't found any support. And of course, like we mentioned, or like some people here mentioned at the preview of the season, those dudes can be very friends when they are winning. I'm talking about Modena, but they can be the worst enemies when they are losing, because right now the spirit of the team is all over the floor. So and of course another lose versus Piacenza, which is a superior team, of course, right now at this moment. But backing up to Monza, yes, they have been winning matches. That loss versus Milano is normal, but they have beaten after Modena, let's say, not so strong teams. So they are doing basically his job to win matches and try to be as more at the top possible in the Super League table, and hope that the draw of Coppa Italia doesn't be too harsh for them. Of course, at the end of the season, we will see that, like I spoke about Piacenza, this team will go 2 or 3 spots down. And this is a thing of opportunities. Civitanova is not good right now, injuries, you have to take advantage of that. Modena is not good right now, you have to take advantage of that. Not for taking any credit for them, but till now they have only playing versus normal teams. Of course, Modena 3-1 help, but it's not the end of this quest. So
it is even more remarkable when it comes to Perugia. They are fourth placed in the league so far, and they are actually they played only against Verona, Cisterna, and Taranto in the league, and their only defeat is the Supercup. So probably the next match against Trento is going to be a marker, in the indicator what can actually happen with Perugia and on what level are they now, because Taranto and Cisterna and unfortunately, for me, Verona, they are not the teams that can show your level on the top level in the league so far.
Yes, next game is Perugia versus Trentino, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
this will be hard for Trentino since they will count with Michieletto. And the injury of Michieletto only proves that he's human. He's been playing non-stop since the beginning of the summer, training with the national team, winning things, there and here, and the body just stop and say, hey man, you have to chill because you only have 20 years. You have to physically develop more. And we comment on the chat that it was a good thing. The injury will only took him away from the game 2 weeks, but it could be much worse. And and you cannot lose a guy like Michieletto, let's say, for the hopes of Trentino and for the hopes of Italy, of course, because he is now the man to follow in this league. Okay.
Okay, just probably to have some words also about the team of Padova. Fifth place so far, 3-2 against Trento. I'm very impressed how they played against the team of the host, but still okay. Trento without Michieletto in most of the match, but
playing at home,
I'm really impressed how they are organized. Yeah, I'm really impressed how they organized. Mattia Botto, another European champion, even though as a substitute in the Italian team, is playing very good. This German pair setter opposite is also impressive. Of course, they are not the best setter opposite in the world, but they are very decent. Jan Zimmermann and Linus Weber. The Canadian Lobke underperforming in this match, but Georgi Petrov, the Bulgarian, played very well. Actually, he got unbelievable defense in the match point of attack of Srečko Kulisinac in the tiebreak, then blocked Matej Kaziyski for 18-17. So very impressive also by Georgi. So it's really interesting because my predictions, as long as I remember properly, was for 10th place for Padova, and probably it's not too late for them to be just there, but so far they're playing better than I expected, I believe.
That's just to mention, of course, on the Italian side, the figure of this team, which is Marco Vitelli. This is not a middle blocker which is too good in attack, but he has shown that he can block, and this is very interesting, doing the fact that the Italians players in the national teams are aging, and you have to look some kind of let's say new faces on the team now and then. You can test him, of course, in the VNL if you don't like VNL to play it. So yes, Vitelli has been around for that's 5-6 seasons now. He was in Ravenna when Fabio Soli was the coach. He won that Challenge Cup back in 2017, 2018. Yes, let's say that. Let's just put that in context. He also a key member of this team with 13 stop block, and of course the 8 aces so far. So good, and this is very impressive for a middle blocker who I don't think he have a jump serve. Maybe he has some kind of hybrid serve, but it's not full jump like Simon or Podrashkani or Lucinak. So yeah, that's the only thing I want to mention.
Well, personally, I was a bit so impressed by Padova. They have 7 points. 5 of them were against Cisterna and Ravenna before heading into Trento. LUBE just take 1 hour and a quarter to beat Padova in the first game. The 3 sets they won in Trento were all won at advantages, more because of some silly mistakes by the Trento side. The really great play, except for the one you call out with Weber defending Lisineth. At the end of the game against Trento, they attacked with a 32%. So it's not like they were doing exceptional thing. They mostly took advantage of the key situation during the game, and at the end they deserved the victory. But it was not that impressive victory. I don't know, like 2 years ago when Milano came to Pala Trento and win 3-1, if I'm not wrong, or something like that. I see a team that is pretty well coached, honestly, by Coutinho, which is just his second year as a first manager. He has been the second of Badovin for forever, basically. And Bottolo is a very, very good player while attacking. He has a lot to improve in receiving. Vitelli, if I'm not wrong, it's probably out of the youth teams of LUBE, if I'm not remembering wrong. So it's someone that we will see him in the future in the national team. And yeah, I'm pretty surprised that you didn't mention it, but in my opinion, one of the key movements of the game against Trento, Bogdan, as I wrote in the chat, was Georgi Petrov entering in the game and balancing what both Bottolo and Lepke was been doing since the beginning. And also along with him, Andrea Cannella, which is another young middle blocker born and raised in Padova, who was subbing for the captain Volpato, had a good game. But I think that in a couple of weeks, Padova will be where they belong. So without taking credit, taking away credits from them for what they've done so far, they're not gonna be in the noble places of the table for long.
Of course, like you mentioned, next game will be another key to them as they will visit Prisma Taranto. Of course, I think Prisma Taranto can win this game because they will play at home. Then they will receive Piacenza, Monza. They will visit Monza and Perugia and Milano, and four games that I don't expect they to win, and they will regain his confidence probably with Verona at home, and then visit Valentia, which for me Valentia we will talk about them later, but in home they can win versus normal teams, and of course they will close with Modena at 19th of December. Let's go into a quick break to drink some water and stuff, and we will continue for the second part of the teams in this championship. Bogdan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's make the break here. Just a very, very fast question to Nicola. Lavia or Lavia?
That's a good question. Most of the commentators call him Lavia, and I mean when they interview him, they call him so Lavia. What happened in never? I mean, tell them no, it's Lavia. But I've heard him being called both way, but it's most used Lavia so far here in Italy. So.
Well, we are here for the second part of the show. Sorry, Nicola, you were saying that it was Lavia, right?
Yeah, that's the more common way I've heard him being called.
Well, sorry. With that dub of Bogdan, we can continue this quick analysis of the table after the fourth round.
Or not that quick. Next team in the league are the 6th place, the team of LUBE. The injured Ivan Zaytsev, and they're also missing at the Juantorena, and the Cecco is missing partially because of this Italian restrictions rule. So probably we some things about the teams of LUBE. What we can add then, because it's normal that they're struggling without Zaytsev, but it's even more normal that they're struggling also without probably their biggest name in the last years, Usmani Juantorena.
Well, I don't know if I feel happy or sad about this situation, because it's a mix of feeling. I'm happy because finally I can see the promise of Cuba Marlon Jan having the moment that he has been waiting since he was signing for this team. Last season was like a vacation for him, just learning the ways and goes in this strong championship, and now he has the opportunity due an injury of the mighty Usmani Juantorena that when Usmani can play is because he can't even move. So after 2 games or 3 games, he saw that he wasn't in the best shape to take care of the business. Be careful, Marlon Jan is also at 50% of his capacity because he sustained an injury during the U21 World Championship at the abdominal muscles. I think the young kid of Montana, Cuba, Andreu, also have this kind of injury because they didn't work out during the summer in Cuba. If you don't work out your muscles, and when you go back to the high performance games and training, you will suffer a lot. So that's what happened. He started the preseason with LUBE Civitanova. Then he went to Bulgaria to play the U21 World Championship, and he was a key member of that team, the Cuban national team, and he was overused. Of course, he also played a game that he shouldn't versus Iran, trying to put Cuba in the final for the 9th spot. So you have to be crazy to sacrifice maybe your entire career, because this can be an injury that you cannot go back because you don't have surgery for the abdominal muscle. You have to do physical training to strengthen that area of your body. And of course LUBE was really angry about this situation. They also talk about a possible penalty for the player for not listen. Well, at the end was 3 weeks without doing nothing, just physical training. And now the boy in the last 2 games has been stepping up. Of course, I wasn't expecting too much against Trentino, and he managed to score some points even at the high ball situation versus 3-block main. And we all know that what kind of block has Trentino has, like with Lishinak, Kaziyski, Michieletto. Of course, it's not easy, and he managed to score at least 50% of the chances. And with Verona, I didn't expect nothing less than that performance. Even he wasn't at 50%, 68% in attack, no errors of the reception. He received better than Balasso, so that's a really nice news to see a Cuban receiving better than an Italian libero in the Italian league is not common. And I think after Juantorena, we can say that Marlon have the potential to be maybe not at defense, but in reception, in attacking, let's say let's wait more years to see if he can be good at blocking and serve, but he can he if he continue playing like that, he can be a sort of complete player, not 100% complete like Juantorena, but Juantorena is only one and it will always be one, but Mardon is following the right steps.
Okay, let's go to the next. I would suggest in order for us not to be that much extensive, to go with next three teams in the league. Of course, probably we're going most of them about Modena because they are 8th placed, but 7th placed is Milano. Both teams, actually, the third team on 9th place, the team of Cisterna is also with 3 matches. So Milano lost against Piacenza 3-2, beat Monza 3-2, and beat also Vibo. Modena started with a defeat, as we mentioned in the beginning, against Monza 3-1. They beat Vibo in the fourth round, in the third round, of course. And yesterday they also were defeated. Not yesterday. On Wednesday they were also defeated by the team of. Not a good start is probably the least we can say about them because they have 2 defeats and only one win against the team of Vibo, and were hosts. And with this dream team of Brunos and Gapets and Nimirs and Leals, this is not very comfortable for them, at least.
Yeah,
Nicole?
4 games into the seasons. I'm with Gianni when he says we have to find a way to be a team before find a way to play as a team. That was probably what he's looking for right now. Honestly, people in Modena are always harsh towards its team because, Modena is the team in Italy. It's been in the league since the 1960s, the most titled team of the entire country. When you go into a bar in Modena, you don't football, you hear people talking about volleyball. So I don't know if you can realize the pressure that there's in a city like Modena. I mean, not even in Perugia, in the same situation, if Perugia would have won just 1 game and lost 2, the pressure still would be lower than the feeling right now in Modena. And you, Ronnie, you compare Leal, the first time of Leal in LUBE with the first time of Leal right now in Modena. Yes and no. No, because he's already his 4th year in this league, while in LUBE it was just a rookie in the Superlega. And yes, because it's something that I've noticed that he always need a little more than his teammates to adjust to a new system and to a new setter, even if with Bruno they play together in the national team. But I think that in a couple of weeks as well, Modena will have turned things around. I mean, it's not possible for us, much as we know of some crazy players as part of this team, it's not possible to see them on the 8th place in the table. They've lost against the undefeated team like Piacenza, and against Monza, they played bad. They played bad in Monza. That's nothing to say, but it's a loss that could happen. I mean, it's not like they've lost against Ravenna or Cisterna or Taranto. So I'm not too worried for outcome of the season, but maybe in a short length of time, it's something to be worried about. But at the end, I'm sure that Modena will be in the top 4.
My only concern right now, Nicola, is the repetitive bad result of Bruno at international level. Since he got out of LUBE Civitanova. Of course, he went to Brazil. Brazil is not near the level of Italy, not near the level of Poland or Russia in terms of volleyball. Then you have the performance of the World Cup that nobody cared. Even Italy went to with a group of kids. They won the World Cup. You know, when the Brazilians won anything, they think they are their best, and they managed to finally, after 10 years, winning the VNL, which is the same of World League. And even in the VNL, which is a minor tournament for most part of the people, including you, Nicola, we saw that Bruno wasn't that Bruno that when let's say in Rio campaign or something like that. The connection with Leal was never great. Even in the years of LUBE Civitanova was never great. And now we saw the disappointing performance at the Olympics, and now we see this. For me, that's this Modena team is the Trento of last year. Highly big expectations, big names into the roster. Disappointing performance at the end. They didn't win anything. So Modena, at the good side, they will not play Champions League. They will play CEF Cup. They can win CEF Cup if they beat Kazan, which he's performing really well with the gift of Micah Christensen
and Monza
and Bernot, and of course, the biggest signing for me this summer of Kazan wasn't Micah, was Volkov. So this is a player that can be a really game changer in that team. So be careful, Modena. You can be empty hands this season. And as you mentioned, Gianni said that we need time. I don't think they will give any more time that they have right now, because they really invested in this team and they need fast results. And that's my opinion. Not bringing some hate into the players or coach, but it is what it is.
I'm very concerned that Andrea Gianni could actually follow the Radu Stoychev in Modena, because with a lot of stars, with Bruno and Gapet, and I don't know. I mentioned that in the preview podcast that I'm a little bit concerned about them getting as a team too many sharp stones, as we like to say in Bulgarian, in order for them to work well together. Okay, but we're going to talk about Modena in the next podcast for sure, because this is going to be a very important topic, regardless of if they are winning or if they are losing. But some words about Milano and Cisterna. Honestly, I haven't watched Milano so far, and I watched Cisterna only against the team of Verona. It impressed me a lot. Just Verona played awful, but I'm going to have some words about this just after several minutes.
Well,
I watch a couple of sorry.
No, continue.
I go? Okay. I watch a couple of Milano, the derby against Monza and the game against Piacenza. And they're basically the same team of last year. They didn't change a lot. In their starting lineup, Kozamernik was Maru was gone and Jeski brought in. And the major change was the setter Porro, which actually is playing at a good level. And they could have been the unbeaten team right now, because they lost 3-2 to Piacenza, but they had the chance to win during the fourth set, and also to in the tiebreak. They lose very badly, but they had the chance to win the game and previously of the tiebreak. So it's that kind of an explosive team we would have expected from them. Looking at the lineup with Patry as an opposite, Ishikawa, which now is 5 years playing in Italy. So it's sad business to his decision making during the game. So yeah, when they will play the same amount of games as the other teams, because they one game back, as you mentioned, they also will be around the 5th, 6th place.
Okay. Yeah. Probably we. Yeah. Go.
Continue.
Yeah. With the last. We have here Taranto with 3 points, Vibo 3 points, Ravenna 1 point. The very beginning, Verona with no points so far and 4 defeats. What team we should start first? Taranto, I haven't watched them on tape, just a bit against Vibo, and this is actually the only win for Vibo so far.
I think
against Ravenna, and Ravenna has only 1 point against.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, because I don't know if you are listening, Nicola. The internet is not very well. You hear sometimes Bogdan, and then he goes and well. Let's see. I will start for Valentia, because for me, out of these bottom teams, is the team that most invested during the summer. They brought FIVB superstar Nishida, the internet sensation. They brought a controversial figure like Douglas Sousa, which already had problems in Netherlands when he was trying to reach Italy. Some kind of homophobic theme, like he always are involved. Those are other topics. And they also brought Mauricio Borges, which for me is a outdated player many years ago right now. And of course Flavio, which for me has been let's not say the worst thing in this Verona in this Vibo team. Reading some words from the chairman or owner. Yeah. He of course is disappointing. The last game, Douglas only scored 39%, Borges 19% in attack. Nishida is the most blocked opposite on the league, but as we all know, everybody, fans all over the world who humble follow our podcast, these are not like fresh news. We say in this channel that Nishida will struggle in Italy. This is not Japan, and this is not the 8 games per year or 10 games per year of the VNL in 1 month. Here he will be studied by other teams, scouts by other teams, and they will learn the tendencies of this player, which only has 1 meter 86, the same height that Recine, but doesn't have the technique of Francesco. So you cannot expect to conquer a hard league like that. Of course, he is a very good server. We are not taking that from him. 9 aces in 4 games. In 3 games, but that's not nearly enough to say that he will make an impact in this league. So 15 blocks till now, and there will be many more to come, because the team is not doing well right now, and they over using Nishida. Of course, Saita is not the best setter out there, but he's not it's not worse. Let's say he had a good season last year. He put the team almost in the quarterfinals, semifinals. He lost versus Monza, but that's only show that doesn't matter what FIVB says. Players, there are some players that are not ready for this league, and Nishida comes in his first year in Italy as a starter. So he didn't pass, let's say, a one-to-one course before reaching Italy, and that's at the end is key to the performance, the poor performance that we are seeing today. Many people will say that I'm a hater of Nishida. It's just facts. You are facing people of 2 meters 8, 2 meters 5 all the weekends. You cannot expect to succeed. And he now only have a 42% in attack. That's very poor. So
this is only successfulness, not efficiency.
Of course, and it's only he only have been playing 3 games. So 4 games.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna look at the end of the season, but for the looking right now, it's not going to very
I would like to add here that it's not something what the 3 prophets here didn't expect, because we had a special part of an episode, and I made a separate video about no political correctness. I named it, talking about that it's very probable that this is Nishida. Firstly, when he's not going to play in the best team, which is normal because he's coming from the Japanese champion, and the scouts in the Italian league, the coaches and the people working professionally, they know what is the actual added value and not what is the added value social media gives to him. So this is pretty normal what is happening. I hope, of course, to improve, because it's only 4 matches and you need time to adjust, and it's normal. And the team is different. They had Defalco, who is playing now in Poland. They have Grozer, who is playing in Piacenza, and but still, for now. He needs to prove his social media myths, and for now it's not happening. But I hope he is going to improve.
Entirely against Trento, of course. We will answer Trento on game day 2, and with Trento won 1. There's one thing that I noticed. You said right, Ronnie, it's been overused. I mean, it's not as such as high efficiency as we expect from an opposite, but it's also true that most of, I don't know, Zaytsev sent him to a kamikaze way. I don't know how to say it. I mean, he has to spike against 3 guys from P2 or from P4 with the block that already read a set of Zaytsev. So I don't know how much of the block he received are actually or only his fault. But the other thing I noticed is that the team was progressively touching his attacks. So even if they don't block, for the first set and a half, Nishida was basically everyone who was going to block him start to touch the attack and to make the defense way easier. You said right twice, because Vibo probably is the deception of this beginning, but they lost 3 games against Trento, Modena, and Milano. I mean, they probably would have expected to. And about Pippo Callipo, the owner of this figure, I wouldn't say in a disrespectful way, but some of this folkloristic figure of the Superlega. Just imagine someone like Sirci, but even in a more funnier way. So I would take what he says in a reaction and won't be too harsh or too to focus on his words.
Okay, let's go to the last two teams, Ravenna and Verona. Ravenna has only 1 point. Verona has 0 points, which is a little bit of a surprise for me at least. But firstly, we expected Ravenna to be weak because they gathered their team at the very last moment, and now they have players like News Club like 37 years old opposite. Of course, his reserve as an opposite is the Bulgarian Dimitar Dimitrov, and they have also the Macedonian Alexander Lavtov and the Montenegrin Marko Vucinovic. This is not a surprise, but I'm a little bit surprised negatively, of course, from Verona, and they didn't have a point so far. They lost. Of course, we should take into account that they played against LUBE, Trento, and Perugia, but they played also against Cisterna and lost again with no in their basket. So just after that, what I believe is the problem. But let's start with you this time.
Nicola?
I watched, the game they won was Trento Verona, and it ended 3-0 to Trento. But honestly, at the end of the game, and actually while I was covering the game, I thought that Verona should have deserved winning, because the attitude they put on the court was the right one. I mean, they may have done a lot of technical mistakes or bad decision or just facing a strong opponent, but I didn't see them so bad on the court. Of course, as I told you last year, 3 or 4 years ago, people in Italy there were expecting a lot from Luca Spirito. And if I'm not wrong, this year is gonna turn 28 or something like that. So it's not the young promise anymore. At this time of his career, it should have been to take you not to the top 4 team, but at least to be consistent during the season. And against Trento, Stoychev on the court for the end of the. So I don't know actually what happened. I also think that Modric is having a good season so far and is scoring a lot of points, but he's also one of those players that doesn't think a lot. I mean, he's young, he has to build his experience, but see the ball, he sees it high and he spikes like that. It's more the mindset than the one of the Will Spiker. And also Padova was a roller coaster during the game I watched. But regarding the they faced LUBE and Perugia, and the one with Cisterna, it ended 3-1 for Cisterna, I think, and Verona wasted a huge advantage in the fourth or in the second set, so it also could be a tiebreaker. So I don't know actually what Stoychev will say, but I think that it will turn things around.
Not forget about talking about the figure of Jensen. I don't know, Mats Jensen, the Danish player. Let's be honest and choose one thing. When I hear the Italian league, I hear a place when everybody wants to play, and I don't think if you want to develop more further or more higher your career, I don't think it's a good place to learn how to play volleyball. I mean, if you come from the NCCA, a championship which is amateur, I think you have to some kind of start in a lower level league like French league or something in the middle. I know Bulgarian, of of course, Serbia, those kind of championship that give you the real deal. You know, this is Europe. You will face organized blocks. Depends on the league's defense more or less. Gavi is one of those examples from LUBE Civitanova. He is struggling. Of course, it's not his fault. He has big shoes to fill. But Jensen is his second season in Italy. Also, Lepke is his second or third season in Italy, and we have seen that these players are, not developing so well or not so good as we have thought. Of course, you have Mosic, which is a very good talent. We didn't talk about Karyagin in Monza. He had been having opportunities now and there, but is not ready for this level yet. I think those things have to learn from what LUBE did with Marlon and just wait the right opportunity to set them free. I don't want to see these young talents going out disappointing from Italy because they didn't find his opportunity to play. Just they have to be patient, And a good example of that, guys, is Alex Grozdanov, who we didn't talk much in this podcast, but he is a tremendous player. I see him in 1 or 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years in a big team. Why not? After Solé retire or maybe Simon, who knows? Even let's say that Trento finds money and they can hire it, and of course sending away Podrashkanin or something like that. But this is a good example. If you work hard, if you have the right mindset, what you can accomplish in this league. So he didn't rush things. He spent 2 years in 2 or 3 years, I don't know, 2 years in Ravenna, taking blocks, taking good attacks by the best. And now he, for me, the best player or the most consistent player in the Bulgarian national team, and the best new, let's say, middle blocker in the world, below 25 years. He is what age? 23, 24?
2023, 98, I believe.
That's my point. Those teams have to be patient. Of course, I don't know if patience will be together with results. I don't know what kind of results are awaiting the managers of Verona, but I don't think too much about this team this year. So, and of course, we all think that Taranto and Ravenna will be the two relegated teams. But we are seeing that Verona also can run for that spot too.
Yeah, actually, I don't have that much to add. I totally join Nicola on Spirito. Spirito in underperforming a lot, and especially for it's very hard to watch, I believe. I believe there is a big improvement in both liberals, both Bonami and Donati, and Stoychev is interchanging them. And Jensen is also underperforming. How much is the influence of Spirito and how much is it just the fault of Jensen? I believe is the second one more. Great, in my opinion. He has very good numbers in attack and not only in attack. And I believe he's the only player of Verona who is playing at the level needed for the team. They have also a small problem with the second outside hitter. As Perugia, I'm sure, can do better. Also, Giulio Magalini, the U21 world champion, even though as a substitute in the Italian team, also a talented guy. But I don't know if he can be this second outside hitter instead of, for example, they also took the Cameroonian Vunebina, but I don't think he any solution for now. Okay, let's finish the podcast with the schedule for the fifth round. Padova won't play. Of course, any round there is one team which is not playing. We have Perugia against Trento, as we mentioned several times during the podcast. Monza against Piacenza, another great match. First against third in the rank. So it's very interesting routes in principle. Milano against Civitanova, Verona against Taranto, Ravenna against Modena, and Cisterna against the team of Vibo Valentia. So very interesting weeks we're going to have. Probably less, not 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, let's say it in this way. Another episode of the podcast, and this is all for today. We were very extensive. I believe we have something like hour and 15 minutes, which is for sure one of the longest podcasts for the Italian league. So thank you again, and I hope we're going to have even more interesting matches in the weeks to follow.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. Like our pages in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and so wherever you can find us. And until the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.